This is a 99 Toyota Sienna. I'm going to replace the thermostat. It's right here. It's in that housing. Right there. There are 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3 on the housing. And then I think this one's going to have to come off too, which secures this pipe that leads into the housing. So we're going to try and replace it by just removing those 4. And first I need to drain the radiator. The drain for the radiator is on the bottom side, passenger side, and I'm tapping it with my finger right there. I'm going to have to reach it from underneath, but there it is right there. I have a pan underneath there. I'll just turn it and drain the fluid. First bolt is this bolt that holds the bracket for the pipe that goes into that housing. It's a 12mm socket. Okay, there are 3 bolts here. I took the wrench. I just took the extension by itself with the socket. Put it on this lower one. Okay, now I'll put this ratchet on. Okay, it's loose. Now the next one, which is equally as hard to reach. Okay, it's on there. Now the ratchet. It's finger tight now. I'm trying to do this without dropping it. Guess I'll have to get it off there with a magnet. Let's try and get that off with a magnet. There we go. Last nut. Okay, have the socket and the extension in place. So I got the wrench in there. I'm just breaking it loose. Okay, now let's get the wrench out of the way. It's finger tight. Just holding the nut on while I take this off so it doesn't fall. Okay, there it is. This is the new thermostat and seal. Before we take that off, let's get this ready to put in. I bought this at the Toyota dealership. Okay, I think factory made is the best for thermostats. So now that I have it unbolted, I'm just going to wiggle it around until it gets loose. I've got a pan underneath it. It's probably gonna, some more fluid is gonna come out. Okay, there it is. It's coming out. Be careful not to break that sensor or anything else. I'm gonna take this pipe out. Make this a little easier to maneuver. Okay, so I'm going to have to take this wire off of this sensor here. It's a push release. There's the release. Just push that. It was kind of tight. Okay, and I'm going to take this one off too. Let's see if we can get this out of the way now. There we go. Alright, and there is the old thermostat. Okay, I'm just lightly prying on it. There we go. Okay, there it is. This says it opens at 82 degrees Celsius, which is 180 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's not what's happening. This is opening around 167 degrees, which isn't the right temperature. This car should be running around 180 to 185. And when it came out, there's no seal here, so the seal is stuck down in there. You can see it. I'm gonna have to make sure and get that out next. I got it out with these needle nose pliers. It was not glued in, but it was not installed properly. It was just in there, and this was on top. This is a slot in it. It should have been like this. So it might have been that was leaking a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to tell with all that fluid that I just got everywhere, but that's the proper way to install it. This side goes towards the engine, and this is a little bleeder device, so that goes up. Alright, so we'll just set it in place. Okay, and it's in place. That's perfect right there. Now the housing. Be gentle with this. There are two sensors in this housing. See these? You don't want to break those. To get it over the three studs. There we go. Alright, so I think I'll leave these unplugged for now until I get it tightened up. Putting the nut in the socket extension combination, just gently getting it on there to start it, being ever so careful not to drop the nut, which would be hard to find. Okay, next. Same routine, putting the nut in there, being ever so careful not to drop it. Following with the flashlight. Okay, drop the nut. So we're gonna have to, I see it, we're gonna have to fish it out with the magnet. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm going to try and put this nut on with my fingers because it's just hard to keep it on that socket. I can almost reach this, so I'm going to try and do it with my fingers. Okay, there it is, and it is on. Okay. Okay, we'll try this one. Socket extension combo. Okay, drop the nut. Okay, so I took the light and looked around really carefully and I found the nut. There it is. So I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to put the nut on here, and I'm going to turn the corner and put it on with this thing. Okay, let's see if we can get it started. Okay, got it started. Now I'll turn it some more with the socket and extension combo. Once I get all these finger tight, then I'll just snug them up with a wrench. Put the connections back on the sensors. Put that bolt back in the bracket, and we'll be ready to fill it back with coolant. Gonna put the wrench back on, tighten it up, do the same thing with the other two nuts. This is an 8-inch extension. I think a 6-inch extension would have been a better length. And one more thing here. This positive cable goes to the starter. If you're worried about setting that off and sending sparks everywhere, you could always disconnect the negative cable. But it's underneath the starter and it has a cover on it. So if you're careful, I don't think it's going to be an issue. It wasn't for me anyway. Okay, now I'm putting these connections back on. See that slot? It is a guide channel. It just snaps back into place. There's a cable someone left off at one point. Okay, now I need to put this pipe back in. I'm going to put a little bit of coolant around this to help slide it in. Okay, now the bolt. Just making sure that pipe is all the way in. Okay, that's it. Now just fill it back up with fluid and burp it, which just means wait for the air bubbles to come out. Okay, so this is kind of an awkward position, and I don't have a good funnel for that, so we're going to fill it up a little bit different way. Take this hose off. Okay, I'll just pour it down in here. Okay, so I poured it down, filled it up, I topped it off here, I filled up the tank here. Now I'm going to run the car up to operating temperature, and then once the thermostat opens, then I'll turn it off and it'll burp itself out, let it cool down a little bit. That's how it works. And then start it up, do that a few times, and it'll be self-bled. There's the plug for the reader. Okay, here's the coolant temperature. I'm turning the heater on so we get full circulation throughout the system. I'm watching the temperature. Once it gets to 180, 185, somewhere in there, the thermostat should start opening up. We might even hear it kind of thumping underneath the hood. It's at 178 degrees. The thermostat should open momentarily. There might be air behind it though, so it may not open instantly. Holding pretty steady at 180, so that makes me think it opened. Okay, so I'm going to turn the engine off now and let it cool. This is the easiest way to bleed a coolant system. When the radiator cap is right here, this thing goes like this. There's a special attachment and it just bubbles out until it's bled. But this won't fit back there, so we have to do it this other way. So we ran it up to 180 degrees, and after the engine cools down, I'll take this back off, top it off again, And I'll keep doing that. Run it up to 180 degrees, let it cool down. Once it's cool, take the cap off and keep topping it off until it doesn't need any more fluid. It's self-bleeding, and that system 2-3 times, probably maybe 4 at the most, should bleed out the engine. Once it's bled out, then I'll take a flashlight and I will look all around down in here for any possible leaks. Just make sure that it's sealed properly and we're done.